Unscripted, unfiltered, unafraid. Welcome to the Macworld Podcast. My name is Michael Simon, and I'm joined, as always, by Jason Cross.
Good morning.
And our producer, Roman Loyola.
Ahoy there.
This is episode number 966, which is really like 965B. Because this is like, maybe I'm wrong, but this is like our first like ever two-part episode, right?
Could
like,
be.
We don't really do that. Like we'll do like before WWDC, we'll like have like Mac OS and iOS and like we'll divide stuff. But this is the second part of our 2026 preview episode. Last week we went through the first half of the year somewhat sloppily. It'll be more organized this time. But we got right up to WWDC. And today we're going to talk about the second half of the year, which is, you know, iPhone and MacBooks and you know, some more big stuff. So that'll be that. And then we'll talk about, we're going to have another What We're Watching on Apple TV segment. I'm sorry if you're sick of that, but we're going to talk about the Golden Globes and like whatever shows we're looking forward to in 2026. And then we'll have This Week in Apple History and our reader mailbag. Speaking of, you know, we were supposed to change that in 2026 to listener. No, not mailbag, inbox or something. I don't know.
Whatever.
We came up with something last year, but it's
we just
neither
said
readers
nothing
nor
is a
mailbag.
mailbag anymore. So
And they're not readers. This is a podcast.
True.
But
viewer mailbag.
If you're a reader or a listening or a viewer, you can contact us through Blue Sky, Facebook, Threads, search for Macworld, look for the Blue Mouse logo, send an email to podcast@macworld.com, and find us on TikTok, find us on Reels, wherever. Just, you know, get a comment to us, and we'll collect them, and we'll talk about them on a future show. So, all right, no banter this week for people who hate when we talk about our personal lives. We're gonna jump right into it.
All right.
Last week's show. All right, so we'll recap a little bit.
Yeah, I have a list.
Yeah, Jason has a list.
Basically,
I actually wrote that down. I said, Jason, you compiled the list of everything we discussed.
Yeah, there was a lot. We had to go through and go like, man, first half of the year, real quick. These are the things we're expecting, and we're not going to go into these. Just listen to last week's episode. 26.4 updates with the new Siri, which Google and Apple just announced.
Yeah, we just found out.
Just announced, issued a statement saying that they had a multi-year deal. And the interesting part about that is it's not just about Siri. The Gemini Foundation will underpin other AI things in the future. The cheap MacBook, the MacBook with an A-series processor, that's like a purpose-built, less expensive MacBook. The MacBook Pros with the M5 Pro and M5 Max, that update. iPhone 17e, the Mac Mini and Mac Studio M5 versions, possibly a new Studio display, a new regular iPad, like the base model iPad, new iPad Air, new AirTags, new HomePod Mini, new Apple TV, the box, the hardware.
Yeah, we have to specify that when we say Apple TV.
Right, now because it's not the service is not Apple TV Plus.
Right, the app that the service is a streaming box.
Breakfast cereal. And possibly things like the new tablet home pad thing, like the home command center thing. And then takes us into WWDC, where they discuss all the OS 27 updates. And some of those products might be announced at WWDC. So that was all the way up through early June.
Yeah, which is like a product a week.
It's like 20 things. Yeah, it's like it's crazy.
Right.
So we just got something.
Events, some of them could be announcements. And just this morning, like we're recording this on Tuesday, January 13th, just this morning, Apple announced Creator Studio, which is a new product in the sense that it's a repackaging of stuff, but it's Final Cut Pro, Pixelmator Pro, Logic Pro, and some other stuff, all combined into an annual or monthly subscription that gets you access to those apps on your Mac and your iPad.
Yeah, all their creative professional apps. And it's not, You can still buy all those. They didn't pull an Adobe and change the like. You can still go just make a one-time purchase of any of those things. But it's if you want to pay, it's $13 a month. I haven't done all the math. I'm working on figuring out like how many months of it would take for you to just buy these things where it's cheaper.
So if you bought them all separately, it would be a little under $700. This is $130 a year, so it's like 5 years worth of use.
Yeah, if you bought,
or whatever you want to call it.
If you bought the yearly sub, yeah.
So it's if you use that stuff, it's a great deal. It's certainly cheaper than anything Adobe's offering. Which
odds are you're not going to use all these apps, but
right.
Adobe's cheapest is the Photoshop Lightroom only bundle, like the Photoshop Lightroom sub, and that's $20 a month.
You're right,
and then it goes up from there.
Yeah, it's all right. So I don't really. Do either of you use Roman? You use Pixelmator, right? Is that comparable to Photoshop, or are they like very different things?
I the way I would put it is that it's almost like Pixelmator Pro is. To say it's like Photoshop Lite is kind of, it's like Photoshop Medium. How about that?
Okay, all right, okay.
So it doesn't have all the tools of Photoshop, but it has a lot of the tools. Okay. So if you are you consider yourself a moderate Photoshop user, you could probably get away with using Pixelmator.
I got to try it. I use Photoshop a lot. I mean, for work, making images for the site and stuff.
Yeah.
I got to check it out.
Yeah, I tried out Pixelmator, but it was 3 or 4 years ago, I think, and I just couldn't get around the learning curve of like I've gotten so used to Photoshop for things.
Right, that's the thing.
But also it's been a while. They've updated a lot. There are updates for almost all these apps coming when the bundle comes out on the 28th. Almost all these apps are getting updated at that time, and so on.
Yeah, if Photoshop is second nature to you, going over to Pixelmator, the learning curve is going to be really steep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. That's the main thing. Like Adobe can charge so much for it because people are so familiar with it.
Right.
If you're using it for work, you just don't have time to relearn a whole new set of palettes and stuff.
Right.
The value I find out of Photoshop is that it's a verb. It's Photoshop. Right. And if I ever don't know how to do something, if I Google it, there are 1,300 tutorials on YouTube from people showing me exactly how to do it. So it's just like that the value of that kind of like ecosystem, like that secondary ecosystem, not Adobe's thing, but it being popular helps me learn how to use it just because of what the web is these days.
Yeah. It's also interesting that Creator Studio is family sharing. So you're essentially getting 6 licenses with it for $130 a year. We'll see. We'll see how Apple positions it. We just wrote an article. Roman wrote an article this morning as well. It comes out January 28th, 29th, 28th, which is a Wednesday, which is 2 weeks from tomorrow. And maybe we'll see those M5 Pro Mac Studio MacBook Pros as well. Or a Mac Mini, or as we talked about, there's a ton of stuff. So Apple can't hold it all for March. So it's possible we get some new stuff in a couple of weeks to coincide with the launch of this, which is obviously geared towards pro users. Okay,
right.
So next half of this second half of this year. So after WWDC, we'll get the betas. OS 27, iOS 27, macOS 27, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that'll probably be it for the summer. It's pretty rare that Apple releases anything of note in August. I mean, we got to go back to like Macworld New York for the last time Apple did anything like over the summer that was more than just a software update. Yeah,
there have been some times where they do a Mac. They do a Mac update that's like a chip it and ship it version. Like it's just the same Mac with a new processor or something, and that'll ship. They'll like announce it at WWDC, and it'll ship the next week or whatever.
Yep,
that's kind of the most they ever do during the summer,
right?
And then The betas will take us all the way to September when everything happens.
So September. So we'll just jump right to. So we'll get all like October. Like August is like, iPhone rumors and stuff. And September, it will be the iPhone event. Like that's the one thing in Apple's calendar that you can count on. WWDC is in June. iPhone is in September. Everything else is like, well, maybe Macs in March and maybe Macs in October, but iPhones are always in September. And this year, it could be like the biggest launch or most impactful, significant launch since like the iPhone 10. Because, Jason,
I mean, the big one is the folding iPhone.
Right.
Like that's the big news, right? It's a book style iPhone with a 5.5-inch-ish display when it's closed, and then it unfolds inside to a 7-point-something-inch display. The rumors are a little bit all over the place on that. It's expected to have a Touch ID in the power button situation because too thin for Face ID in the folding open thing. We don't really know a lot about it except for that, Apple's done so much work on the hinge and the display, so there's no crease and all this other stuff. But like in terms of what it's going to be like to use it, why you're going to have it fold and unfold, how apps are going to run on the outside versus the inside, will it work like an iPad? Will you be able to do windowing and stuff? Will it support Apple Pencil? We don't know any of this stuff. But the rumor is it's going to be over $2,000. Like there's been several pricing rumors, and they're all
over $2,000.
They're all sort of in the $2,000 to $2,400 ish range. But you never know with those things. Those are also sometimes like as much as $2,400, but that's like for the high storage version, or But it's going to be a big high end premium product. This is not going to be a $1,000 phone.
So recently we've gotten some like additional clues as to what direction Apple is going with like dummy models and things. And it looks like it's going to be like, the best way to describe it is like a passport, like that size. So not as skinny as a phone and not as large as an iPad, but kind of like the dimensions of, if you look at a passport, it's a little bit taller than it is wide, but it's not skinny like a phone. It's still like enough surface area on the outside. And then you open it up and you have, kind of widescreen, not like super wide, not like ultra widescreen, but like iPad widescreen. Like 4:3.
Like if you took an iPad mini and turned it
kind of like
sideways,
that, like a little bit squished, but similar to that size, which I think
it was
interesting
to me how it was interesting to me how when it was closed, it's not as tall and skinny as an iPhone is. It's a little squattered, fatter. In the dummy model, we don't know if that's accurate, but whatever.
A lot of the other folding phones we've seen, Samsung, lesser extent Google and other ones, like they're taller and skinnier than a phone because they squish this, because the opening. So it seems like Apple is doing something a little bit differently, and based on like just initial impressions, it looks like it's a smarter aspect. We'll see. Using it is going to be the what do they say, that the detail is in the eating of the pudding or something. Whatever that expression is.
The proof's in the pudding or something like that.
The proof of the But it looks different and interesting, which is what we expect from Apple.
And honestly, like in terms of software, Google has had years of, and together with Samsung and stuff like that, of changing sort of how folding phones work, how apps go from outside to inside, how you deal with multitasking and larger displays and different ratios and stuff. And this will be Apple's kind of first stab at that. So I'm going to be really curious to see what new interaction stuff is part of this. Like it's going to be the first time we have kind of new iPhone software, right? In a way. Yeah.
Yeah. And like ever, since like ever, like a different interface for the iPhone.
Yeah. So, and I expect it to be somewhere between what an iPhone and the new iPad stuff is. It's going to be somewhere in there, but it'll be interesting.
Yeah. And, like on the Android side, I haven't used folding phones a ton, but there's nothing all that innovative. Like they'll you open it up and there's like a couple of windows, like split screen or something. But there's nothing really that's like, oh, that's really cool. It's like what you expect basically. And
Yeah.
after I would have thought Apple would do something similar, but after iPad OS 26, like now, like that kind of opens up the world for something a little bit different, maybe more productive. We'll see what they do with that. I'm sure there'll be some slick animations when you open it, like it'll like come in this way and open up or however they do it. Like there'll be something like that. That's cool. But it's going to be super expensive, but it's going to be the most exciting iPhone like since the iPhone 10, I would say, which was also very
the most interesting. Other iPhones we expect are it's probably just as noteworthy what we're not getting because we're expecting the iPhone, the Pro and the Pro Max, but not the regular iPhone.
Right. That's almost
regular iPhone 18
at this point.
So regular iPhone 18 is supposed to be bumped to next year in the spring together with the E model, which means that like the $800 iPhone isn't going to be a thing you can buy this fall.
Unless you get a 17,
And there's iffy rumors about there being a new Air. Some say, some say they'll put a second camera. They're going to figure out how to put a second camera on it. Some say they're going to lower the price maybe $100 because that was kind of an issue people had. Right. So, and if they do all those things, it could be a pretty good product, but we might see another Air this fall.
I don't see the point. If there's an Air that's $899, I just don't see what the point is at that point. Like just
point of what? The Air?
The point of it existing. I don't really see the point of it existing now, and I own one. But like if you're going to retool it, add a second camera, cut the price, you have an iPhone 18 that's skinny. So just sell the Air or sell either or, because you're basically selling the same phone with slightly different design.
That's kind of what I wanted out of it. It's like the Air is, okay, if you want one that's a little bigger and thinner and less battery life, but it's the same phone as this other one. That no, it's more important to me that it be a little thicker and a little smaller and have better battery life. But they're the same phones, and I feel like that's a fine decision to make, but that's maybe too many products for Apple.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, I think the Air is fine as a one-off product. Like we expected it to be kind of like a preview of like half of a folding phone. Like it's skinny and, this is what we're working on. It's kind of like a proof of concept. I don't need a second one. Like just have it be a one-off. It's fine. And again, I love it. Yeah. I have one. And I wouldn't trade it in. I also might not buy another one if, next year.
Yeah. What if, and this is just like spitballing the thing out here. What if there's no more iPhone Air per se? What there is instead is when the regular iPhone 18 comes out in the spring of next year, that's the form factor of it.
Yeah, sure.
It's the Air. They put a second camera on it, but it's super thin, like the Air, and it's $799 or $829 or something maybe. So that would be an interesting switch.
That would be great. They'd have to get
and then they sell that together with the E, so you have the cheap one.
So it looks like from everything they read, like September is going to be the high end Pro iPhones now, and March is going to be the more affordable iPhone. So it's going to be like an 18-month gap between the iPhone 17 and the iPhone 18, which, for people who don't follow iPhone rumors, which are a lot of users, they're going to be like, what the hell? Like, where'd the phone that I get every year or every other year go? Yeah. Because I have an iPhone 15
why is the new iPhone?
Right.
Why is the new iPhone $1,000?
Right. And is Apple going to...
Because that'll be like the cheapest one you can get.
Like, are they going to talk about that during the event? Will they say...
Yeah.
It's coming in March? Like, they don't usually do that.
No.
So, but to not update it is going to confuse a lot of people.
Yeah. They'll make a lot more money, though, because there'll be people who need the new iPhone who will, normally would have bought the regular iPhone who will go ahead and buy the Pro.
I tell you what, my parents are going to call me the next day and be like, how come I can't get, my mom has an iPhone 11 and she's just waiting for, I don't know what the hell she's waiting for, quite frankly. I've told her to update for 2 years now. But I guarantee you she's going to be like, how come there's no iPhone 19 or 18?
My dad was in the same position. I think he had a 12, and he was finally starting to get warnings about the battery being so old, the battery capacity being low. And he's like, should I take this to get it fixed? I'm like, no, you should not. Like, just go get another
my mom's
iPhone.
battery sucks, and she got a warning about like she couldn't upgrade to iOS 26 because her storage was too full. And she was like, well, should I delete? I'm like, no, just stick with iOS 18. It's fine. You're going to hate iOS 26 anyway. It's fine.
The September event will also be new Apple Watches. We should mention. We don't expect anything significant there.
Well, we don't know.
It's going to be a new.
There's been no rumors.
The rumor. Yeah, well, there have been, but the rumors have been for the next. What is it going to be? Series 11? Series 12?
Series 12 is this year. Yeah.
Series 12 and Ultra 4.
Yeah.
No, Ultra 3. Ultra 4.
It's the 4 and also the SE4. Yeah.
And the SE4. And they're all expected to be pretty much the same as what we have now. Like there's an apparently a new design in the works for maybe next year, maybe
we've been hearing
later than that. But
like watch,
we've been hearing that forever.
8. Yeah.
Yeah. But this year, they're expected to be more or less the same. There was some little rumor about having an underscreen fingerprint reader on the Ultra, which I don't understand why they would necessarily need to do that. It seems not necessary for a watch, but I don't know. and on the Ultra, the super rugged one of all things, the one you go diving with, I don't know. So, but yeah, they're just. You will get something like, satellite connectivity is better or something. It's not going to be they're not going to be huge changes.
Yeah, I don't. Are they ever going to just radically change? I mean, we're 12 generations in.
That's what we keep hearing, right?
Basically works with every model, with the exception of the 38 millimeter, like some of those don't. But for the most part, it's all like the small ones work with the small ones. They've changed it. It's gotten better, of course. It's a lot better. But I don't know, like other than like a massive change, I don't really know what they can do. Yeah, round, which they're never going to do. I mean, the Apple Watch is iconically square or whatever they're called, squircle. But I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know if there's ever going to be like an Apple Watch that's people talk about even. Like
I feel like never say never, but my thought is that. A design where they could do things like flatten the sides and stuff and still the bands work.
Sure.
But the next real redesign is probably waiting for something like blood glucose or blood pressure monitoring or something like that, where maybe they need to put a sensor in the band. And then that means they need to have different connectors between the band and the watch or something like that.
Like that's what they have to do is cut off.
Yeah.
Cut off.
They're going to have to cut off
support.
the band support, which after all these years, you can't fault them for doing. They went way
more than
long.
A decade, sure, yeah.
So, and there's no real reason to do that now, other than to make it look different. But when there's a technology reason to do it, then maybe that's where we see it. But regardless, that's not expected to come this year.
Right.
So there'll be Apple Watches for sure, and they're going to be more or less like the ones you get this year.
Yeah, it might just be the one model this year. The SE has never been updated 2 years in a row. So that one just got, and the Ultra 4, the Ultra, like the 2 was basically the same, and then we got the black one, and now the 3. Like, we'll see. But there will be something. I wouldn't fault Apple for not doing it. We've said that for years, but I don't think they would do that. I think they're perfectly happy to release an Apple Watch with a new number on it that is the same damn thing as last year. They've done it before. I'd like to meet. Hey, if any of our listeners upgrade their Apple Watch every year, send us a message because I'd be curious to see if those people exist. Because I know they're all like watch connoisseurs that they have a ton of different watches and they change them every day, and they, like. Do you trade in your old one and buy new, or do you just buy a new one and have them all? Like that'd be interesting too, like all different colors. And I have known people who have a couple different Apple Watches, but they don't upgrade them a lot. They just have a couple like different styles or whatever. And there's definitely people out there,
and there's like subreddits for this who are just band collectors.
That for sure.
They they have like a closet full of Apple Watch bands, and they're changing them all the time.
I don't like changing my Apple Watch, but I know it's really easy, but it's still a pain in the ass. I always put it on the wrong side. I got to take it off. I got to change it. I just leave mine on. I've had it on there. The one that I wear, I've had it on for, I don't know, a year.
What else would be coming in September at the September event?
Well, are there any of the things that we talked about last week could possibly get pushed to the fall? Maybe the mini, HomePod mini, maybe AirTag that could come at any point, or Apple TV has been in the fall before. They've done iPad mini in September, October before. So like there are other things that could arrive. I don't think they're going to want to take away from the iPhone Fold. So I wouldn't expect anything of note, like anything that could possibly detract from the launch of that phone isn't going to happen in September.
Right. Yeah. And things like MacBooks and stuff, that'll be either not an event direct to web, or it'll be an event, but those will be at a separate time, maybe October or something, right? Is that the idea?
Yeah. Have we ever gotten a Mac in September? Roman, do you have that off the top of your head?
I'm sure we have, and I just don't remember.
I can't remember a time. I know we've gotten iPads.
I can't remember,
But, or like the occasion, maybe not even iPads. Like I know, like there was a time when like the iPad mini came out with the iPhone processor, and we were like, what the hell? And then the iPhone came out like 3 weeks later. But they don't mix Macs and iPhones.
There has been a
HomePod maybe, like that's different.
There has been a persistent rumor that even though we just got AirPods Pro 3, that there is another AirPods Pro.
That one too. I didn't even write that down. You're right.
And I don't know what it would be. There's this talk of like little cameras, not RGB cameras to take pictures, but little IR cameras,
like Vision Pro style cameras, like that capture your gestures.
Yeah, to capture your gestures. Even simpler than that, because Vision Pro has like a million actual video cameras and other things and stuff. But yeah, just like a little thing to capture gestures, and then maybe that would work together with the VR and AR stuff that they're all working on and everything.
Yeah,
I could see that being. They do AirPods with the iPhone event all the time.
They do.
So that's
that the rumors were. I forgot about this because this was. Like we heard about this right after the AirPods Pro 3 came out. Like it's not an AirPods Pro 4, but it would be like AirPods Pro Ultra or something, or AirPods Ultra. Like it would be another line. And if Apple's going to release only high level or high price premium iPhones, maybe that's part of that. Mm-hmm. And that's the kind of thing that wouldn't really take away from the iPhone. Like people would write about them, but AirPods are AirPods. They're not, super duper headline grabbers. So I can see that.
But they do drop them during the iPhone event.
And if you're going to spend $2,500 on an iPhone Fold, why not spend another $300 on a new pair of AirPods?
Yeah. This is total guesswork, but here's a little sort of conspiracy
here we go.
Guesswork for you for this. I think there's a decent chance that there's a quote one more thing this year that the Fold could be that, but then that would mean that they just talk about just iPhone Pros for a while.
I think the iPhone 10 was a one more thing, wasn't it? Because they came out with the 8. Roman, that's on you to find that. I think it was.
See if that was a one more thing. But here's the thing: the next Vision Pros or Vision product, the next the AR glasses are far out, and there's been those rumors that they are fast tracking smart glasses instead, something that are glasses with displays kind of built in and everything,
like those
but
Ray-Ban
not
things.
Like the Ray-Ban Metas. They do voice commands. They work with AI. They put little things on the screen, but they're not integrated with reality. It's not mapping your environment. It's not doing any of that. And I can totally see that being a one more thing this year, and it really meshing with these new AirPods that are tracking gestures. You'll be able to do gestures that control your glasses. Like they'll be there'll be gestures just for the AirPods, stuff like that if you don't have the glasses. But if you have the glasses and the AirPods, they work together to let you do all these gestures to control what's on your screen, your little glasses screens. So that I could completely see that being a thing.
That would like kind of upstage the iPhone Fold. And, I know I said they wouldn't do that, but now that I'm thinking maybe they would, because the iPhone Fold is going to get some criticism because it's not going to be cheap. It's going to be over $2,000, and people hate things that the iPhone 10 got slammed because it was $1,000. So like this would kind of help mitigate that by like, hey, but look at this other cool thing we have. Like look at this shiny thing over here. So maybe, there are rumors like the glasses thing. Apple has to get rolling on this quick because it's been a couple years now for Vision Pro. It hasn't really done much, which we expected. They came out with the M5 model last year. Who cares? And they're obviously working on stuff. They wouldn't have come out with Vision Pro if they didn't have a whole, roadmap for the product. Meta is kind of lapping them in this department at the moment. They have the Oculus stuff or Quest now or whatever it is. And, the glasses are, I've tried them on and like glasses store, they're pretty good. You're like, they don't, like Jason said, they don't do like AR high tech stuff, but they're not bad. And they're not that expensive.
Yeah, and they're just releasing new versions of it and stuff. And especially with point of view video recording, when you have both hands free, can be really, really neat. And with Apple doing all the sort of spatializing your videos and all that, like you could record something point of view, and then when you watch it back in your Vision Pro or whatever, it's a spatial video. Like there's a lot I think Apple could do here. They could add a lot to it. So yeah, I feel like that's a pretty solid rumor that Apple has decided, we're going to do smart glasses in the interim. It's going to eventually evolve into the AR glasses that we want. And Vision Pro is going to come from the other direction and meet them in the middle. But those are far enough off, and we need something now. And
So are you making a prediction that that's going to happen in September?
No, but it's right now. It's kind of a coin toss kind of thing. But if it happened this year,
it would be.
I feel like they would announce it in September. Okay, and it might ship in the spring or something. But like that September event is where they do these big, it's either at WWDC or it's like something like that. And it could go together with these AirPods that let you do hand gestures to control things.
All right, Roman, was I right? Was it one more thing?
Yeah, so two things. It was a one more thing. The iPhone 10 was a one more thing announcement. And I think the last time Apple released a Mac in September was in 2013. It was a Core i5 iMac.
Oh, wow. That's random. Oh, because they were doing iPhones in June then, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, right. Okay.
Right. So.
All right. Thanks for that.
Well, it's been forever. And
it's 13 years going on 13 years.
Yeah. So we can definitely say, hey, that's probably not going to happen. But then that takes us into, is that it for September? It takes us into October.
I would assume so.
Yeah.
iPhones.
So what's happening in October?
So October is generally Mac, like a Mac something, either an event or like a web release. So this year we got the MacBook Pro M5, only the M5, not the Pro and Max. And we got the iPad Pro M5, and we got the Vision Pro M5. The M6. So the timing is weird because we just talked about the M5 Pro and M5 Max MacBook Pro haven't come out yet. Let's say they come out in January like we predict. So that's about 10 months, which is fine. But the M6, and I think I'm going to let Roman talk about this for a little while because he's interested in this. It could be so this is like a 20th anniversary where there's actually a story on our site. It's not there yet. It'll be there tomorrow. This is a 20th anniversary of the MacBook Pro. And, it's changed a lot over the years, but it hasn't changed much in the last 5 years. It hasn't changed at all in the last 5 years. It hasn't changed much in the last, say, 10 years because, it's a laptop. But this year, it could be like a dramatic change.
The last big change was adding HDR and ProMotion.
Yeah,
displays.
and the notch.
And when was that?
Yeah.
Four
That was
years ago?
2021. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So this year, the rumors have been saying that they're going to make them thinner and lighter. But the biggest change is probably an implementation of an OLED.
Yeah.
I'll say OLED.
Okay.
An OLED touchscreen,
Yeah.
which would be a huge,
Massive.
massive philosophical change for Apple because for years Apple has resisted. I mean, there was that famous quote that Steve Jobs said about how, I don't remember the exact quote, but he was essentially talking about how unergonomic it is to use. But Apple feels like it needs to do something to differentiate the MacBook Pro a little more on the market. So one of the things they could do is implement a touchscreen. So that would be the biggest change, yeah.
If they wanted to make the OLED makes sense to me because they did this on the iPad Pro,
and the iPhone, obviously,
and it's that dual. Well, the iPad Pro in particular has that dual OLED that goes right, the tandem OLED thing, and I expect it to be something like that. But if they really wanted to sell the idea that we're doing a touchscreen Mac now, their little sizzle reel video for this should just be a supercut of children going up to use a Mac and trying to touch the screen, because you give anybody under the age of 8 any device and they expect to be able to, they'll walk up to your TV and start trying to touch and swipe on things because that's what they know. That's how
I got to
things
tell
work.
you, there are some times during the day when I try to do that and I'm like, oh, I can't do that. Like, we're so accustomed to touching our screens.
So if they just want to sell the idea that like touch is what we do now. I know we said this years and years ago, but it's what people expect. And they just need to have like, a montage of cute, adorable kids going up to a MacBook and trying to touch the screen and it doesn't do anything. And they get mad. And then it ends with the one that goes up and touches it and it swipes, it does whatever. And they giggle and they're all happy. And that's their ad.
But it is a good point because there is a whole generation of people who grew up with touchscreens.
Yeah.
Now they're old enough to spend money on a MacBook Pro. So maybe that's what Apple's waiting for. I don't know. But because it does kind of feel like just, that one of those things where it's an idea. What should we do? I don't know. What else? What can we do? We can do the touchscreen. No, I don't want to do the touchscreen. Well, there's nothing else we can do. Well, I guess we'll do the touchscreen. So
famously how Apple operates.
Yeah, that's how the meeting between Tim Cook and John Turnus goes. That's exactly how it goes. But it does feel kind of like we don't got any other good ideas, so let's just do this kind of.
Steve Jobs said the quote is that it was ergonomically terrible, which I don't disagree with. And Tim Cook had an even better line and said it would be like combining a toaster with a refrigerator. So Apple has for years resisted this. It would be really interesting if they did a complete 180 and said, here's your.
It was super is. We do live in a different world now.
We do.
Right.
Yeah, I get that. I think we're going to maybe get a hint about if they're doing this at WWDC just by looking at what changes Mac OS 27 makes, because they're going to have to change Mac OS to work with touch. Like it's going to have larger touch targets or something like that, and that may not be totally visible, but people are going to dig into the code and they're going to find references to things and stuff like that. And there may be some design differences where you say like, oh yeah, look at all the space they leave around these interface elements so you don't accidentally touch the wrong one when you're using your finger.
The version of Mac, if this product exists, the version of Mac OS for a touchscreen Mac would be the same as the version that's on just like a regular laptop?
I don't know. I would hope it's not terribly different. Like I'd feel so annoyed if I picked up a 2026 MacBook Pro and And it's different than the 2026 MacBook Air that doesn't have a touchscreen, but it looks different, and Mac OS looks and operates different. I would feel bad about that. Like,
well, what about, so let's go back to the iPhone Fold. We expect that to be different than the iPhone regular, the non-folding iPhone interface.
Yeah, because it's a complete physically different looking thing, right? You know.
So is the
I
Mac
don't think
going to follow, like maybe those interfaces kind of work together. The folding MacBook and the unfolding MacBook, they all fold. The folding iPhone and the touchscreen MacBook, maybe they kind of overlap design-wise, and the other, I don't know.
Could be, yeah. But those things at WWDC, when we see what the interface changes to macOS 27 are, and or people start digging into the betas and seeing references in code and stuff, I think that's going to be our first indication of whether or not a touchscreen Mac is coming.
Yeah, there was back when the iPhone 10, before the iPhone 10 launched, it was iOS-ish 8, no, 11, whatever the iOS version was. Like they were like all the menus got pushed down to the like pushed down the screen. Like you could tell,
right?
There were like several like clues of like, hey, wait a minute, that's an interesting. Like I remember the biggest one was like in messages. They brought out like that like flyaway menu, so you like held it for a moment and then things popped up, which was clearly geared towards A, gestures, and B, a screen being lower to your thumb.
Longer and taller,
Yeah. So like, yeah, there will be clues, and you know, the question is Apple going to hide them from us? Or is it going to like by hide, I mean, will there be a completely different OS, like OS 27.1 that changes things subtly? Yeah. Or will we be able to kind of like, you know, pour over that stuff? But it's going to be an interesting year for the people. Shout out to our own Felipe Esposito who like pour over the code, because there's going to be a bunch of stuff here and there that gives clues as to all of these operating systems. I can't remember another year where there were this many brand new unreleased products that could come out.
Potentially, yeah. Now, granted, every year there are rumored products that just don't make it out.
Yeah. Well, like
we're
the ones
in it
this
now
year from last year.
Yeah, exactly. So expect some of that again, but still, there's just a lot. There's just a lot that's not just a chip and ship update. There's plenty of those too, but there's just a lot that aren't.
If you use Polymarket, I think your iPhone Fold is a safe bet.
That's probody a pretty
that one you
can
put a couple of bucks on. The MacBook I'm not sold on. The touchscreen MacBook, we'll see. The cheap MacBook, I am. That one I'm pretty certain of in some way.
Yeah,
the
that
iPhone
seems
one.
To be.
And that Smart Display, I think so, but I don't know, because it made more sense last year, but then the Siri thing delayed it, so maybe this year, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah,
but even if just those
I feel like that's a
that's
solid thing this year, but it may not be in the spring. It might be.
It could be.
It might be that we get new Siri, but kind of all this new home stuff comes in the 27 OS updates. Yeah. But apparently it's been kind of ready to go since it's supposed to be last year, right?
The year before is when we first started like really hearing about it, like as like a serious, this could come out next year. So
right, it could come out next year. It was supposed to come out in the spring with the new Siri.
Well, if we get an invitation for an event in the spring that says like "Welcome Home" or something, like we know what's happening.
Yep,
something like that. All right, is that it? Like are we done?
Maybe. There's always the chance of things like, and we should just mention that like they're not solid rumors, but it's been a while on like AirPods Max.
Oh, geez, I forgot about those things.
Right? It's been a minute. They're overdue for an update. We don't know what
6 years.
They're waiting on.
Or 5 years. Yeah.
Maybe they're waiting on an H3 chip because the new AirPods Pro don't have one.
That's true.
Maybe they're going to do the same gesture thing, the new whatever AirPods are that are coming. Yeah. We don't know, but it's time for a new AirPods Max. That might happen anytime this year. And then There's Apple is working on some
Pro,
other home
maybe.
products.
maybe we'll
Mac
get a
Pro.
Mac Pro.
We kind of mentioned that for the first half of the year. I don't know when it would come out, but
Yeah.
Mac Studio, Mac Mini, Mac Pro all need something. And then Apple is working on some other home products. We know home cameras, home security cameras, or
Doorbells
whatever.
and stuff, yeah.
Possibly a doorbell or some other kind of outside your house thing like that. And if we get the home pad thing, the home hub thing in this spring, I could see them doing like the cameras or something then. Or maybe that's a whole other separate event. Like you said, maybe there's a welcome home event and they do all this stuff. They have multiple products all together. So those are all more things
it
that
would
could,
make sense
could
if
land this
those
year.
are coming this year to bundle them into one event. But yeah, it's going to be like so halfway through January already. We haven't gotten anything. Like, come on, Apple, what are we doing? You got like 50 things.
What do you mean? We just got Creative Studio.
That's true.
They just took a bunch of existing products.
We didn't even
and
talk about
slapped
that
a
because
sub
we had
on
no
them.
idea that was coming. So
It's to be fair, it's not new
It's not
products.
new.
These are all products that are out. It's a new way to pay for them.
yeah, I like the little when you go onto the Creator Studio website, it changes for there's like a design thing that happens to the thing. It's pretty cool. Go check it out. Any more Macs in October, Roman? Do you think like it would just be the MacBook Pro M6 thing, or would we get an iMac, maybe a Mac Mini? I don't know.
Well, the iMac could possibly get upgraded. We haven't heard anything, but by then it'll be 2 years. It has an M4 right now, and I feel like Apple has never announced this, but I feel like it's on a 2-year cycle.
Except the
so it could get an
M3,
M6.
M4 was weird, but yeah.
Yeah, the M3, M4 was weird, but it went M1, M3, M3, M4, and there's a whole thing about Apple's wanting to change production on that.
Yeah.
And then now it's the M4, so maybe an M6 iMac, but we haven't heard anything about it. So
No, and it could use a refresh in its design, maybe some new colors or something. It's been 5 years.
There's that rumor of an iMac Pro,
Yeah, like a larger
which would
one.
just
Right.
they'd stick a Pro or Max in it. That is supposedly coming this year, and we don't know when, but that might be a thing they put together. They put new iMacs and hey, an iMac Pro. Once again, another.
Is there anything that isn't
thing coming this
Are
year.
there any products, if all these things come out, is there anything Apple sells that isn't updated this year?
I'm actually surprised they don't send. What is there a fourth Apple Pencil coming? Just
Well, they
for
only
some
really
reason you
sell
can get
two.
3 different Apple Pencils.
They sell the USB-C and
kinda.
the Pro, kind of, yeah. But
Can you still get the old one?
not through Apple Direct? I think you can still find them on Amazon or something. But
yeah.
so I'm just going through I think we hit every single thing that they sell.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah,
And there's always wild little things like chargers and stuff like that they just, give us some strange update on.
So yeah, 2026.
I think, what do we not expect? No new Vision Pro.
Probably not.
Probably not. There's not expected to be one.
Yeah.
They just updated one.
Yeah.
There's no thing. So yeah.
How about new Tech Weave cases?
New sock. What do
I mean,
what
they
do
will
they
be,
call
I'm
the
sure.
that bandolier thing?
The Pocket.
It's a pocket.
The
yeah.
pocket, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that thing sold
iPhone
out.
Pocket.
I think it was never heard from again. Like it was like they really was limited. Like they sold out and it's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So so maybe something like that. But otherwise, like start saving. If you want anything from Apple, this is the year to buy it. Start saving your money because man, there is a lot coming down the pipe. Down the pike. Yeah.
Pike.
I'm terrible with idioms today. All right. So what we're watching on Apple TV, we just did one. We talked about Pluribus. I'm not going to talk about it again, but just the other day at the Golden Globes, Rhea Seehorn won Best Actress for her work in Pluribus, which I actually think she's fantastic in. Despite my issues with the show, she's excellent. There's a lot of like range she has to show to act without speaking. and like she's fantastic at it. She's really good,
and she does plenty of speaking too. But
does.
like, yeah, she's very good. I never saw her before Better Call Saul, but she killed it in that show.
She did. She was never nominated. I didn't know that. Like I knew she never won, but she also was never nominated, which seems crazy to me.
Yeah,
she was great.
That stinks.
Yeah.
So they call it best performance by a female actor.
I know,
but yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, they changed that.
I didn't know that was a thing, that I'm not supposed to say actress anymore.
I guess not.
Yeah. But yeah, she's excellent. The show is good. We'll see, but she's great.
Don't start. We did this last week.
We talked about it. I would never tell
so the other one was
to watch it because it's worth watching.
The other big one was The Studio, right?
Yes, I haven't seen any of those.
Did you get around to watching that?
I haven't. I got to watch those.
It's just go into it knowing it's a little manic, but like,
okay.
But yeah, I'm not surprised it won a Golden Globe, like its best television series for musical or comedy, which I guess they combine those. And then Seth Rogen won, which, for musical or comedy. I don't know what he was up against so much, but it's so self-referential about Hollywood.
Right.
And has so many like little Hollywood, famous Hollywood actors playing other people, but also ones playing themselves,
right.
In little cameos and stuff like that. It's kind of not surprising that any Hollywood association would like it.
I did hear, or I read rather, that like they have an episode that makes fun of the Golden Globes and they won a Golden Globe.
Oh yeah.
So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, it doesn't make fun of the Golden Globes. It happens around the Golden Globes. It makes fun of their studio and Seth Rogen's character. It doesn't disparage the Golden Globes itself in any way. But yeah, okay. No, there's a whole Golden Globes episode that's nuts. Yeah. I find it to be a very entertaining show, but you have to be in for that brand of comedy where like it centers around a very neurotic person who constantly makes kind of unwise, rash decisions.
Yeah. So the other nominations in that category that Seth Rogen won were Adam Brody for Nobody Wants This, Glenn Powell for Chad Powers, Jeremy Allen White for The Bear, Martin Short, and Steve Martin for Only Murders in the Building. So it's a strong category. I don't know what Nobody Wants This is, but the other ones are like,
watched that.
They're all solid.
Nobody Wants This is a Netflix show. It's pretty good.
Okay.
You should watch it.
No, I'm sure. So
I don't think it's Golden Globes good, but and thank God The Bear didn't win because that doesn't belong. No, it's excellent. But everyone always says, why is this a comedy? And it has to do something with the length of the format or something. It can't be a drama. I don't remember, but
there's comedic elements. I have more issues with One Battle After Another winning for best musical or comedy. Like, yes, there's comedic parts to it, but I would say it's more drama than comedy. But but that's, I guess it's a way to put people in, to put shows in a category, and so they make sure they're nominated. I don't know, but I agree. The Bear is good. I wouldn't label it a comedy.
They explained something about it with The Bear once, where and I can't remember what it was, but there's some requirement to be in the drama category that it didn't fill.
Oh, okay.
Like it needs to be an hour long or something like that. It can't be a half-hour show or whatever. I don't remember, but it's some technical thing like that. And so they're like, that's why it's in that category. I'm like, just because you don't check the box for this doesn't mean you're a comedy.
Yeah,
like,
they should change it to like long form or short form or something.
Right, something like that. So maybe that's what's going on with One Battle After Another.
Yeah, maybe. Like, listen, there were funny bits to it. Like you could stretch it to a dark comedy if you must, but it's really dark.
Yeah, and often not that funny.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, it was good. It deserves recognition. We'll see.
I like the show.
The Academy Awards they don't do television for the Academy Awards. That's the Emmy Awards.
No, it's just movies.
So the only thing Apple could get an award for is F1, which is unlikely. Although that was good. It's just not like award season good.
Yeah, it'll be technical Oscars, all the
Maybe, yeah.
all the special effects stuff and everything, and sound design stuff like that. They could probably be in those categories.
Yeah. All right. Anything coming, Jason? You handle our big coming soon article. Is there anything? So
The big list.
I'm interested in the new season of Hijack, which I liked the first episode, the first season a lot. I don't know how the hell they're going to do a second one because it doesn't really lend itself to a new season. But
It's on a train now.
yeah. It's like Speed 2.
Right. It's exactly what's going on. I didn't see the first season, but that is coming. And that's well regarded. So
good.
I like Idris Elba. I should watch the first season. Shrinking's the other big one coming
awesome.
Later this month that everybody loves. And
that movie,
God, I wonder if
that movie with Elizabeth Olsen, what the heck is it called? Hold on, I got to pull up the TV app. They have it's like a promo on it. It is called, of course, now I can't find it. Every time I open this app, it's like right in the front, and now it's not there because it's Tuesday, so they changed everything. It's called Eternity. It comes. It's not until next month, February 13th.
Yeah,
but that looks good too.
And there's that, and there's a also is it February or March? No, it's even a little further out. The next season of Your Friends and Neighbors is coming out.
Oh,
those are kind of the big ones.
I got to watch the first season of that. I didn't see that.
Yeah, it's worth it. Those are kind of the big ones early this year. And then there's a lot of stuff coming later this year that ought to be hits. They're finally going to try and make a TV show out of Neuromancer, which has been nobody's dared to try to do for 20 years. Ted Lasso's coming back, stuff like that. The final season of For All Mankind, so there's plenty of good stuff coming kind of later.
Okay. And Pluribus, it doesn't look like this year because Gilligan said he hasn't really started a second season production.
They're writing. They're not shooting yet, so I wouldn't expect
probably not till 2027. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. In this age of streaming, everything kind of takes its time. I mean, look at Stranger Things. There's no more rush to get things done.
There was a big gap between last season and this season on Stranger Things, and I'm turning it on and I'm going these kids are too old for these kids.
Yeah, 11
it was a stretch before.
And she's graduated college. I mean, she's not in high school, that's for sure.
No, they're all in their 20s, but it's. I mean, because kind of a stretch before, they always get people who are older than what they're playing, but they look young and stuff. But now they don't even look like they're supposed to be high school seniors or whatever, juniors or seniors, and two of them are supposed to be sort of freshman college age or whatever. And none of them look like that. They all look like 30-year-olds. It's just not working.
Okay. Roman, on to your This Week in Apple History.
Yeah, so this week in Apple history kind of ties into what we were talking about with the MacBook Pro release, the M6 MacBook Pro release. It's 20 years ago, Apple released the MacBook Pro. It was announced this week 20 years ago, and then it started shipping on February 14th. That first MacBook Pro was the first Mac to have a Intel processor, or was the first MacBook to have first laptop to have an Intel processor. Okay. They replaced the PowerPC G4 chips they had in previous models.
Was this at Macworld San Francisco?
Yes. Okay. Yes. This is, well, I think a few months earlier when they made the official announcement, Paul Otellini came out in a bunny suit.
That was I think that was at WWDC, I think, wasn't it? When they announced the transition?
I think it was at when they announced the transition. Yeah.
I remember there were a ton of rumors.
Bunny suit doesn't mean looks like a bunny. That's what they called those clean room suits.
Right.
And there was a whole Intel ad campaign with people dancing in these bright colored clean room suits.
And reportedly, Paul Otellini didn't really want to do that. But Apple kind of insisted he did. Maybe Steve Jobs insisted he did. I don't know.
The marketing always wins.
Yeah. So it came out with and so there was a 15 and a 17-inch models. Came out with a Core Core Duo processor. And then later on, it eventually got upgraded to a Core 2 Duo. But yeah, so that's pretty much. And then eventually, later on, even after that, they got the unibody. So, it was, but yeah, it was kind of a landmark.
Where was
release
this in
because
the
of
Intel
chips.
transition? It wasn't first. I think first was the Mac Pro, if I recall.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you have any idea like where it fell in the
And the order?
In the order
I can't
of,
remember.
like-
Yeah. I'd have to
because I
look
think
that
it
up.
took like 2 years, maybe. All right, let's see who's quicker, Roland.
Yeah.
The significance is before this, there was the PowerBook.
Oh, it was actually the iMac was the first. 'Cause that came out
okay.
in January. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So but this was the significance was before this was PowerBook, and this was a huge improvement over the PowerBook, right?
Yes. It was, because at that time, the Power PC chip G4 could hit a ceiling. They couldn't get it. They couldn't get any more performance out of it, especially in the laptop format, because it was just running too hot.
Yeah, too hot, sucked too much power and stuff. So they got a lot of battery life and everything out of this transition.
Yeah.
I had it completely backwards. The Mac Pro was the last one to come out. I remember.
Right.
So that was at, it looks like Macworld, New York. But I remember there being a slide would say, because the specs had leaked before it came out. And I remember the slide saying premature specification and everyone left. But I thought that was the first one. That was the last one. So yeah, Roman, you're right. iMac first. Mac Mini was second. Then the MacBook
Pro. Yeah, because the MacBook Pro didn't officially start shipping until February. Whereas, if I remember correctly, the iMac started shipping at the announcement. I might be wrong on that now that I think about it, but it was 20 years ago.
So the iMac and the MacBook Pro came out at the same time. So
they were announced at the same time.
Where
they
I think
shipping
where you
at the
wrong,
same
the
time?
17-inch didn't come out till April. It was only the 15-inch Pro came out in January. I'm looking. I'm just piecing together things as I'm zipping through the internet here. But it looks like the 15-inch model came out in January with the iMac, and then the 17-inch model came out in April.
Okay.
Yes.
So yeah. Now that we've lost our audience.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. Okay.
They don't care as much as we
MacBook
do.
Pro.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that would be a good time for Apple to shake things up. Going from M5 to M6 isn't shaking things up, but touchscreen would be.
Touchscreen, yeah.
So,
20th anniversary. Yeah, sure. Apple likes to do things on anniversaries. The iPhone was 10 years.
I can see them actually even offering both, offering M6 processors in the old cases with the old screens and all that. Yeah, just a chip upgrade, and then having a MacBook Pro 20th anniversary edition that's thinner and has OLED and touchscreen, and then that the next year becomes the next MacBook Pro.
Yep. Yeah, that could very well
sort of the way they did the iPhone 10, but they still had released the iPhone 8 that year with the same chip in it and stuff. It just didn't have all the new OLED and Face ID and all that stuff.
Yep. Look at Jason making all these predictions.
I know. Only one of them has to be right, and then I can claim I called it.
That's right.
On all these things.
Quickly start a social media account called Apple Leaks 2 or something, and put it all on record.
Yeah, just call them all leaks.
Roman, what do we got next?
Yes.
Reader mailbag.
Now we've
inbox.
got mailbag, inbox, letters, whatever you want to call it, feedback,
comment
threads. So a couple of weeks ago, we posted a clip from a previous podcast where we talked about Apple's failure to make any progress with AI from last year. And a lot of people responded to that clip Flying Darwin on TikTok said, Apple would prefer to be the best, not the first.
Yeah.
Everyone wants AI until it's done right. Unless it's done right. I like their approach here. KGlueck9 on TikTok said, a phone without AI jammed on it sounds great to me.
You can turn it off.
Tedman, yeah, you could turn it off. Tedman1138 on TikTok said, it's like you guys don't know who or what Apple is about anymore. Apple isn't implementing anything half-baked in their view, and they won't go against the environment here.
All right. What was that guy's name?
If they're not implementing anything half-baked, then explain Image Playground.
And also explain why it was announced a year and a half ago. That's the half-baked thing they've ever done. We wouldn't have a problem with Apple Intelligence if we didn't know Apple Intelligence was a thing. They announced it too early. That's the problem with it. That's why we're so angry with it.
Yeah.
If they said stuff was coming that still hasn't come in 2024, okay?
Well,
we know with Apple, we know Apple's game plan. Like, we know.
And some of the features they did that are here that I call Apple Intelligence, like the visual intelligence thing and the, and the Image Playground and stuff like, they're just not that great. Right. I feel like they're half baked. I feel like those are fully half baked.
The entire thing was pushed out too early. I mean, you can argue that it's one of the few half baked things Apple has done, sure, but it's definitely not fully baked.
Well, I got a question. So now that Apple is partnering with Google with Gemini, do you expect fully baked stuff at WWDC this year?
I think
much more fully baked. It was like that last year.
Was it?
What?
Last year at WWDC?
No, they didn't really.
Yeah,
talk
they
about Apple Intelligence.
That they did. Not much, but I just mean in general, WWDC, they didn't announce anything that was like coming in an update
I see what you
or whatever,
mean.
right?
I
like
think
coming later in an update, they were just like, no, these things are ready to go. And they were.
I think the middle or early, the beginning of last year or late 2024, there was a all hands meeting with the Apple execs, and they said, we messed up. Like, we're not ready to ship this. We need to figure something out. We're not going to be able to do it in-house in any sensible time frame. And they talked to probably a bunch of these things. They tried them out. They decided Google was the best one. Just like they partnered with Google for Google Maps on the iPhone. This was like, all right, listen, we have to climb on someone's shoulders to do the thing that we want to do. So I do think that Siri and whatever Apple Intelligence stuff's coming at WWDC is going to be impressively good this year. This is the most confident I felt about Apple Intelligence because it's a Google sense.
It's based on a Google product.
Yeah, listen, Gemini's really good. And the Gemini Foundation, with what Apple wants to do with it, their vision, I think it's going to be very good.
I really hope so.
If we're making predictions here, then I think what's going to happen is they'll showcase Siri at WWDC, but then they won't release it in October, and it'll be available in a future update.
No, there's no way.
I think that's what I'm putting my money on.
Against you on that.
I would bet they wouldn't do that
Siri for another year. It would be.
I would say it's like 27.2 will be the Siri release or something like that.
So you're saying that we're still 12 months off here, or 10 months off? God, I hope you're wrong about that one.
Even if it is that they wouldn't announce it at WWDC, I think they've made the change starting last year where what they announce at WWDC is the stuff that's going to ship initially. And if it's not ready for the initial release, if it's coming in a later update, they just don't announce it. Yeah. They just announce, and it worked for them this past year. And I think that's going to be the thing going forward. No, I still think we're going to get the new Siri this spring. I do too. I think we're going to get a further, even newer version of Siri, like new Siri interface, the way it looks and acts and stuff, even more in the 27 updates. But yeah, I haven't heard anything that makes me think it's not going to be in 26.4 or whatever. Yeah. And that's probably why they issued that statement, that joint statement, right?
I think so. They're getting a little bit ahead of it because 26.3 comes out in 2 weeks or so, and then the betas arrive. And if it's in the beta like this we know it's the Gemini Foundation. It doesn't have to come out in rumors and stuff. Yeah.
And I feel like it has to be in the beta. Like
Now it does,
it's
yeah.
too big a change
I
and
think
too
so.
much stuff for them not to have it in at least maybe not the beta 1, but like beta 2 or 3. Like before they ship this thing, they're going to have to get it in the hands of beta
even if
testers.
it's
They're going to have to let
shackled in some
developers
way,
hook into it.
And they hide back some features or something. But yeah, I think so. All right. So I hope Roman's wrong and I hope Jason's right.
Last two comments. Gren6 on TikTok said, "How can AI on my phone make the experience better? I'm serious. Someone please explain." And then Mr. Grundle on TikTok said, "Siri is an abomination now." So
The previous comment that makes a lot of sense to me. Like, I don't think people like. So when you see those commercials for Gemini and they're talking to their phone and they're giving it, like Apple doesn't do that. So I agree. Like, what's the experience here? Like to make emoji, like that's not what I'm looking for. I do think the new Siri is going to change that in a big way. What we know of AI, what people expect from AI, it's finally going to be something that we can do, just like by saying, "Hey Siri." Uh-oh.
Yeah, I feel like Apple has a big advantage over even a lot of these others. Maybe not Gemini on Android phones, but the big advantage they have is that they own the platform and the device. Yeah. And that lets them, everybody's moving into what they call agentic AI. Mm-hmm. And I think they have a really big advantage there because they own and make the operating system. So we're going to start seeing that. That's part of what they announced is all these app intents where you can do all these things within apps without thing. So if you want to say, well, what's the benefit of this or something, you can just say, if you could just tell Siri, let's say you were going to meet your friend for dinner, right? Yep. At a place. And you could just say, can you look at how long it's going to take me to get to Nomu Sushi and text my friend when I should arrive.
Right.
And just say that. And it would do those several steps. It would do the step in maps and with looking at the traffic, and then it would text your friend. If you could just have it, having taken a picture, say, hey, crop this down to just my face and send it to my mom. Like, and just not have to take all those steps. So once we get to that point where things can reliably happen naturally like that, I feel like that's when you go like, yeah, AI is helping me use my phone. It's making it easier.
Yeah, like an actual assistant. Like we've been calling these things digital assistants. Asking if it's going to rain isn't a digital assistant. Like assistant is able to understand and do things. So yeah, that's kind of that's what was promised 2 years ago at least. And I think I think they're going to deliver it, hopefully quicker than Roman thinks. All right.
Well, that wraps up the mailbag comments post.
Yes. And that does it for this episode of the Macworld Podcast. We are not bad, a little over an hour. Pretty good. Episode number 966. Thanks to Jason Cross.
Thank you. Thanks
to Roman Loyola.
Thank you, sir.
And thanks to you, the audience, for tuning in. You can subscribe to the Macworld Podcast in the podcast app. Hold on, I lost my place. On Spotify, on YouTube, and the Macworld Podcast channel, or through any other podcast app. Do you have any comments or questions? Contact us through Blue Sky, Facebook, Threads, TikTok, Reels. What's the one on Instagram? Oh, that is Reels. Search for Macworld. Look for the Blue Mask logo, comment under a video, comment under a post, whatever. Just we'll find it. And that does it for 2020. Our 2026 preview is done. There will be no part 3. Join us in the next episode of the Macworld Podcast as we talk about everything in the... I still screw it up.
You could have just kept going.
You could have got that would have been fine.
So my brain doesn't let me do that. It tells me I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Join us in the next episode of the Macworld Podcast as we talk about the latest in the world of Apple. See you next time.